right now. And pay no attention to anyone else on this set this morning. The only one worthy of your time and attention today is the one, the only, the big swagoo who is still basking in the glow of LSU's big win.
I mean, I told y'all. I mean, it's more to come. I don't want to exhaust it all, but it's good to be here, G. Thanks for inviting me back.
It's just the beginning.
Suffice it to say, there will be at least wardrobe changes this morning for the Green Man. We'll get to it. But let's start with what was a genuinely great game. Late into the night last night, if you didn't stay up, here's what you missed. The unbeaten 49ers taking on the Seahawks in a critical game in the NFC West. We pick it up under 3 minutes to go. Second quarter, Niners are up 10-0, but we've got ourselves a problem.
Kind of the story of the game, really, is the Seattle Seahawks defensive line being a little tired of hearing about the 49ers. Pressure upside in the middle. Clowney there for a scoop and score early start for the Seahawks defense.
Jimmy Garoppolo, 3 turnovers on the night, so that makes it a 10-7 game. Then Seattle gets the ball back under 2 minutes to go. Looks like they're moving. DK Metcalf is a big, strong guy, but how does this get ripped out?
Incredible effort by Tart. You just get on the right side of the football. DK Metcalf is a massive human being, but he's good enough. Angles, strip it out by Tart. Huge turnover at the end of the first half.
They review it, they confirm it on the field. A fumble and a recovery by the 49ers, who hold on to a 10-7 halftime lead, but they were just getting warmed up. Under 5 minutes to go now, third quarter, same score, and I spell Russell Wilson's name with an M, a V, and a P.
Watch his creativity, and then just the push touch of that football, just floating it where only somebody on my team, Hollister, can get underneath it, whether he's thrown to him or Lockett. Doesn't matter, just great touch with the football.
Jacob Hollister with the catch, 14-10 Seattle, early fourth. It's 21-10. It's Russell Wilson. He's back to throw. And this is a crazy play. Try and follow the football.
I've never seen anything like this. It pops out of Wilson's hands into Effetti's fumble, and then DeForest Buckner's right there to pick it up. Watch it on the back angle. You're going to see as Russell Wilson starts to spin, because Pete Carroll can't believe it, spins, ball comes out, the offensive lineman's there, and then watch from the left side, Fred Warner, bang, punch out right there. Touchdown, San Francisco.
And it's a critical moment in the game. They go for the 2, they get it. So it's a 3-point game, 21-14 Seattle. Late in the fourth, under 4 minutes to go on a third down. There's the new Seahawk, Josh Gordon, making the catch. Under 2 minutes to go, out comes Jason Myers, 46 yards in a game that is currently tied, and he unties it. So with a minute 45 to go, Seattle is up 3. Does Jimmy G have what it takes to bring his team down? The answer is yes.
This is a really impressive drive by Jimmy G, getting the ball out of his hands, guys catching and getting north and south vertical, giving them a chance to tie the game.
The rookie kicker is Chase McLaughlin to tie it at the buzzer, and he's got it. That's good, and so Garoppolo gets it done, McLaughlin gets it done, and we're going to overtime. Seattle gets it first on a 3rd and 16. Russell Wilson, the dimension that he brings you here is what separates him from almost everyone else.
It's the difference maker. Just hang in the pocket, drift, find someone, turn her open, big completion for Seattle.
Now they're inside the 15, but remember the circumstances of overtime. A field goal doesn't end the game, so they still have a reason to go for a touchdown, and they pay the price.
You see the linebacker starts to drift to the side. He's following the tailback. And Russell thought he was going to do that as well, but he did a nice job of getting width and depth. He tries to get it up over his head, picked off, big change of possession for San Francisco.
Absolutely could have cost Seattle the game, because back comes McLaughlin, the rookie, from 47 yards. Oh, and it's not even close. The shank on the kick, which would have won the game, and instead, Russell Wilson gets another chance. And as a rule, the sentence Russell Wilson gets another chance usually means the end of the game.
It's death. Outstanding job of seeing the pressure, finding a seam, getting a big third down conversion.
Jason Myers then trots back on, and as our night ends, he kicks a 42-yarder to win it. Devastation for the home team. The last unbeaten falls. Seattle, a thrilling win on Monday Night Football.
How would you describe this one?
It's probably the craziest game I've ever played, to be honest with you. I don't think I've ever been a part of a game that crazy, that long, that back and forth, that back and forth.
You want a nice, easy win. Just can feel it from the beginning of the game. And, you know, eat the guac and the chips and just kind of kick back. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. It took us all the way till there was nothing left.
So we take a look here at some of the numbers. The win probability in overtime before Russell Wilson threw that pick, they basically had it won. Then after, they basically had it lost. And then, of course, they make the field goal at the end to clinch it. So it was that kind of night on Monday Night Football, a thriller. And Swagoo, I turn to you here. The last unbeaten has fallen, by the way. So that sound you hear is the champagne corks being popped down there in Miami as the Dolphins, the 72 Dolphins, remain safe for another year. What's the number one takeaway from this game for you?
Russell Wilson. I mean, look, we know that he had the critical interception that could have gave San Fran missed field goal. But when you look at this team, right, and when Jarran Reed and Jadeveon Clowney is rushing the passer like they are, I don't think there's anybody better, D.
Yeah.
I'm more confident in Russell Wilson being my quarterback than anybody in the NFL right now.
And I want to take that and go, they won because they had the two best players on the field. Like, it was Russell Wilson and Clowney. They were the best players on the field last night. And I think that there was a little bit of Seattle's defensive line maybe being sick and tired of hearing the 49ers talk about. But Russell Wilson, when they needed him to have his best plays, he showed up. As usual, like he never lets us down as fans of football, that there's a play that needs to be made, Russell Wilson is going to make it. And yes, there were some breaks that they got their way, but he took advantage of them. And all the scrambles outside of the pocket, throwing the football to the right place. Lamar Jackson and him are in this heavyweight bout for the MVP. And last night he was on the center stage versus the best defense in football. And he answered, man, he's incredible to watch.
And so the top of the NFC is just flat out loaded, and we can talk a little bit later in the show about who we like there. But the question is, if you're looking at the 49ers, who are unbeaten going in and have a kick in the air that would win the game to stay that way, are we confident that their quarterback, when these games get to the end and it really matters and they're looking at Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers and Russell and all these guys, are you confident Jimmy G can go toe-to-toe with those guys?
No, G. And that's been my apprehension with the San Francisco 49ers since the beginning of the season. Are they a very good team? Absolutely. Are they a contender? Absolutely. But we saw in this situation, look, we'll talk about the conversions that Jimmy G made down at the end of the game, but there was 2 interceptions that the Seahawks should have ended this game on. That Jimmy G looked nervous. He looked like he wasn't ready for the moment, and he was afraid to go out and make a play. Had one interception in each linebacker's hands that they just absolutely dropped. So this was the question. Even last night, Booger and Joe Test said it. This is the moment everybody's been waiting to see with Jimmy G in this position. And quite frankly, I didn't think he delivered outside of Seattle just not wanting to win the game at that point.
The questions tied to him are only going to be stamped a little bit more after last night. I'll be honest, the drops hurt him, right? Like the drops, there was 4 or 5 drops, but there's one play that stood out to me. It's the third down in overtime when they're backed up with like a minute 30 left, it's 3rd and 10, and he takes the shot downfield to Deebo Samuel. It's there. The drops were part of it. Yes, like that was part of their offense struggling last night. But there was a play, there's a moment where he can go make that throw, and if it's thrown the right place to Deebo Samuel, it's the play that Griffin bats away. If that's thrown a yard further, it's a touchdown. Game over. San Francisco wins the football game. So this is the play right here. Watch. He's beat. That's beat in the NFL. You throw that ball in that moment as the star quarterback of an undefeated football team, and you answer all the questions. You underthrow it, and the questions are going to remain.
So that's where we wake up on this morning with the week in the NFL finally officially behind us, a thriller on the Monday night, and a jam-packed now top of the NFC West, with Seattle moving a game out with a win in hand, and a jam-packed top of the NFC in general. We'll talk much more about this game and the NFC as we go, because one of the teams that figures into all of that, the Dallas Cowboys. Late in Sunday's loss to Minnesota, the Cowboys were down 4 and they were driving, and on their 4th and 5 at the Vikings 14, Dak Prescott tried to throw it to Zeke Elliott. While the Cowboys did get the ball back, all they had left was a Hail Mary. Yesterday, Jason Garrett talking about that call.
Yeah, there were some different options on the play. He had a couple quick options. He had Randall, he had the tight end, he had Zeke, and he worked his way to Zeke, and unfortunately it didn't work out for us.
So you take a look at the Cowboys' schedule here coming up. It gets a little rough. Look at those numbers there. There are some games that the FPI gives them a chance to win, but I don't consider those a bunch of easy wins. It certainly turns from what it has been earlier in the season, where they had an incredibly easy schedule. And so I turn to my former Cowboy sitting here in Marcus Spears. As you watch all of that, what is your primary takeaway of what happened Sunday night?
You got to find a new coach, man. It's time for Jason Garrett to go. And I say that because, look, The question about Jason Garrett has never been, is he a good coach, right? A good coach, but average. Like his record is average. The way they play games are average. And when you look at how Dallas has been starting these games, these slow starts, you directly reflect that back to coaching. But, G, I sit here and I tell you till I'm blue in the face, and me and Dan O have had this conversation. Everything about the Cowboys has been addressed to win a Super Bowl outside of the head coach. I don't know what else you point to. It hurts me to say that about Jason Garrett, but I don't know what else Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, the front office can do to justify that that is the piece we're missing in order to make a run at this thing. It's nothing else.
Yeah, to me, that's the most fascinating part of the whole situation, because your point is something that doesn't get talked about. They have shored up and made moves all over this organization, and it's only been pedestrian.